Put me in the order.
Or
Cagle. Mr. Heisler.
Here.
Mr. Jacobson.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Mathias. Mr. McGinn.
here.
Mr. Anderson.
Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want to make a motion for the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second that.
All in favor? Aye. Aye from the vote. Cindy, Dunn.
Evening. My name is Cindy Dunham. I'm a 40-year resident of Curtis Lake Park District. A lot of you know me. I worked for the park district from 1985 until 2017. From 1999 until 2017, I was a safety coordinator for the Curtis Lake Park District. I was a little concerned about reading in the Northwest Herald about disbanding the park police. And the big thing was saving money. What about the safety of our citizens, our patrons, the people who use the parks, families use the parks, the cross-country runners are running through there and everything. It seemed like it was more, to me, more about the money than the safety. I did read that Tara, you said if we're only paying $12.43 annually, is taken out of our taxes for park police. Isn't that a small price to pay for the safety of our residents and our patrons using the parks? Having worked with the park police, our park police patrol the parks, there are 26 parks and there are 14 facilities. They are proactive, they are not reactive. They're out there trying to stop the crime and the destruction of the park property. If you disbanded park police, is it possible the city would be charging us if the police were then picking up the slack of the park police? So are you really saving money? Or would we need a service that would have to come out and we'd have to pay for that? Our park police officers know the parks like the back of their hand. If I had a grandchild and she got lost at Whipple Park or at any of the parks, I would prefer to have park police looking for her because they know places the kids may be, places they may hide, than a city police officer who may not know where a child might hide. I do want to make out 2 points about within my term of safety coordinator. There were 2 people who were suicidal in our parks. One of them was a gentleman. Our police were notified. They found the gentleman in a trailer. They kept him from committing suicide. Another one was a young girl who was suicidal. Park police was not called, and that girl ended up taking her. I talked to the police chief about that incident with the young girl, and he was just devastated. He said, "Why didn't they call me? If they would have called me, where they found her is exactly where I would have gone." Because he had seen her around the parks and had known where she liked to be. So I really hope you do not decide to disband park police. $12.43 is minimal. It's a hot dog special over a ton. I'm willing to pay that so that our citizens, our residents, people I know are safe in the parks. The other thing I'm really afraid of is if you disband park police, are we then gonna end up having VA as another Bussy Woods, like they have in Oak Grove? So please, really consider, as far as how much money is costing the residents, as opposed to the safety of the residents. The other thing I would like to put out there is, if you feel you need to disband the park district, why not put it to a vote for the residents so they can have a say in their safety in our park? Thank you.
Sagala?
Hello, my name is Ed Sagala, and I am not a 40-year resident, but I came here Easter of this year. My wife and I retired here. We just love the downtown and the community aspect. We live within walking distance of Main Beach. My bride really loves to paddleboard, and so we're trying to make frequent use of that. We also very much like the music that occurs, although it is in conflict with the City Hall meetings. But first of all, I'd like to thank the board for the work that you do, especially because I am somewhat fiscal conservative in my own dealings with us. So I understand allocation of money is very important and where you spend the money. It's my understanding the money that we're talking about is between $400,000 and $500,000. One of the things that I want to make sure you understand, I was a resident of Las Vegas during the mass shooting that occurred out there. My son was in the audience at that point in time, trying to exit and get people to safety as an military. Those situations happen, unfortunately, more and more in our communities. Crystal Lake, I hope, we've been here for several months now. We think they're wonderful people out there. But that does not prevent Lone Rangers from going out and doing things. There is a certain feeling that you have when an officer is present during large gatherings. I'm speaking specifically of the things that occur at Main Beach. Prevention is the key. I understand there's somebody here that deals with supply chain. Who is that? Somebody, your job is a supply chain person? No? Okay, maybe I read that wrong. Supply chain is having the right thing at the right place at the right time. Prevention of serious problems is better than dealing with the solution. If you happen to have any type of negative event at a big place, if you have a shooting, if you have a stabbing, if you have a fire, if you have any type of things, it's going to cost this city millions and millions and millions of dollars. Far outweigh the cost of prevention by keeping an ongoing police presence in the community. So although I do appreciate fiscal conservatism and getting the bang for your buck, in this particular case, I think if you withdraw that, maybe nothing happens for a while. But when something does happen, the consequences to this town will be devastating, and to the people and to the community itself. And it's a place that I'm invested in because we moved here and we'd like to see it safe. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mark Starver? No, I put no. Oh, that's an ad.
Evening, everyone. 33+ year resident. Love our parks. If you ask almost any citizen in Crystal Lake, did you know that the Crystal Lake Park District has its own police force? They give you a funny look and respond, nope, I didn't know that. If you ask those same citizens if they've ever seen a Park District police officer in a Crystal Lake Park, the same response. No. The vandalism to park property has never been deterred or stopped because the Park District has its own police force. In fact, the park police have never caught any of the park vandals on their own. They've always needed citizens who watch social media to aid them to do their jobs. 2 years ago, after a 3-week-long incident involving a soccer federation coach holding makeshift practices off the soccer federation fields, Park Police Chief Longo gave me his cell phone number. He said, if there's another problem in Little Park, I should give him a call. On May 15th, 2022, I woke up at 6 a.m. to loud music. First, I thought it might be coming from a new neighbor's home. It was not. The extremely loud music was coming from the wetlands in Little Park. From our backyard, we could see a tent had been set up on the east side of the wetlands near the parking lots. The tent was pumping loud music into the wetland. I called Chief Longo around 7 p.m. because the music was continuing and it was breaking the law. Chief Longo told me, there's nothing I can do. The event is already underway. Really? So I gotta know, if an event had begun and there was a shooting, stabbing, or a fight, is Chief Longo gonna wait until it's over? This wasn't a good example of proactive policing. More recently, just this summer, a neighbor had landscapers doing major work. The landscapers cut small trees and large bushes down. Then, the landscapers dragged the material that they cut down across the trail in Little Park and tried to hide it in the tall grasses in the wetlands. So they didn't have to take that waste back with them now. So we called the Park District and we spoke with Eric. He said Chief Longo would be out to investigate. Chief Longo did arrive a short time later. He talked to the landscapers. And then he parked along the trail south of where the landscape had been done. The landscapers removed a few small branches and Chief Longo drove away. My wife Diane was working in our backyard and noticed that the landscapers didn't remove any more of the debris after Longo drove off. Diane walked over and told the landscapers that if they didn't remove all of the debris that they dragged into the park, she would call the park police again. They removed the remaining landscape debris from the wetlands. I emailed Eric and told him what had happened. Recently, neighbors living near Little Park came to this board to complain about the park police speeding on their streets and on the trails in the park. The Crystal Lake Park Police are mostly useless. Their time is mostly spent assisting other municipal agencies. Your own board reports confirm that fact. The agenda tonight includes 4 scenarios regarding the future budget for the Crystal Lake Park Police. All of them include additional money that's needed for new body cameras, which will be required beginning January 1st. We don't need a watered-down, part-time, ineffective park police force. So don't waste your time debating which scenario is right. The citizens of Crystal Lake want and need our tax dollars to be spent wisely. The money saved by eliminating the Crystal Lake Park Police can be used on our parks. Maybe you can eliminate the waiting list of park upgrades that already exists, or at least speed up replacing our aged neighborhood parks, like Knack Park and other parks that are on that waiting list. The Crystal Lake Park Police are a duplicative municipal service. Taxpayers are paying for police with our city taxes. And then we're having to pay again for police with our park district taxes. Commissioner Anderson had the right idea regarding the park police. Leave policing to the real police. Then you can concentrate on park business. Maintaining and improving our parks really is the park district's mission.
Is that it? Anybody else? Go ahead. Give us your name and address.
My name is Robert Gumpy. My address is 746 Coventry Lane in Crystal Lake. How do you do? My wife and I moved to Crystal Lake from Lombard in 2002, so we've been here a couple of decades. I'm retired from the Postal Service. I've worked for the McHenry County Conservation District as a seasonal employee since I retired in 2006. So I'm going on 18 years working for the Conservation Department. I also work part-time for the Crystal Lake Park District. I work at the Nature Center. I wish to encourage the board to keep the Park District Police as they provide services that Crystal Lake Police Department either cannot or possibly will not provide. A lost child. a few weeks ago at the Luminaria. Someone came up to me, I was manning one of the bonfires. Someone came up to me with a little girl about 5, 6 years old. Little girl was lost. I got up to walk, this is firsthand. I got on the walkie-talkie, called Will. He got a hold of the Park District Police. Heard over the walkie-talkie, another lost child was up at the shelter at VA at the parking lot. Park Police came out. I don't know how long it was taking the Crystal Lake Police Department to get there. But the Park District Police were right there. Within 7 minutes or so of me calling Will on the walkie-talkie, Park Police were here comforting this kid, and they eventually reunited both of these kids with their parents. Who knows how long, if the Crystal Lake Police Department are on a call for an accident or a robbery or a domestic dispute, any number of things, they can't just drop that and go looking for a lost child in the parks. That's just one example. I'm wondering if, just by chance, if any of the board members have gotten a hold of the Crystal Lake Police Department and asked them if they were going to patrol the parks. Ask them if they're going to assist with traffic control and parking for an event like the Luminaria. If they're not going to, I would suggest members of the board have a flashlight and a reflective vest and help out with the parking. Just real quick, in closing, I would agree with this young lady. Put it to a vote, put it on the ballot. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna, is anybody else? Go ahead.
Is it okay?
Yes, that's right. You're Brian, your wife signed in.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I hadn't signed it. I apologize. All right,
You're 6915 Underway.
correct. Right. Good evening, esteemed members of the Crystal Lake Park District Board. Before I share the letter I've composed, allow me to set the stage with a heartfelt background. Here with us tonight are, well, pretty soon, two special individuals, Amy's father, Barry, Amy Fuse Odom, and Amy's brother, Jason, is on his way. He's on the route, and when he comes, we can join us too. When I first broached the idea of dedicating the proposed park on Haligus as a tribute to Amy, Barry's response was deeply touching. Amy, alongside her family, was a beacon of integrity, facing challenges within the Lakewoods government head on. My efforts to initiate an investigation were faltering, marred by threats, public censures, and distressing outbursts during board sessions. And it was Amy's courageous decision to stand alongside me that turned the tide. She became a pillar of support for our staff within Lakewood, the police, and with other government officials catalyzing a transformative change. So I've reached out to the administrators of Lakewood Social and Lakewood Live, our town's two primary social media handles, gathering community support for this initiative that I'm about to read to you. The overwhelming response from Lakewood residents, many of whom have written letters to Jason Herbster, likely shared with you as well, is a testament to the impact that Amy has had on our community. With this emotional context, I'm now ready to read this letter, hoping to honor Amy's legacy in the most fitting way possible. And this is what the letter says, and I'll submit it for the record, for the board packet. So I'm writing you to, dear members of the Crystal Lake Park District, I'm writing to you today with a heartfelt request that holds immense significance for the community of the village of Lakewood and Crystal Lake. It is my sincere hope that you consider naming the proposed new park in Haligus after the late Amy Fuse Odom, aptly called Amy Fuse Odom Park at the Silos, or something apropos of the circumstance. Amy A former trustee with the Village of Lakewood, played an invaluable role during the community's most tumultuous times. As her fellow trustee during the crisis, I had the honor of witnessing her unwavering commitment into doing what was not easy or popular at the time, but what was right. Her dedication to the well-being of the residents, unwavering support for the employees, and commitment to preserving the positive small town culture were instrumental during a challenging political crisis. Amy's impact was profound, saving jobs, maintaining the police force. I'd be interested to see what Amy's perspective would be on this issue within the Park District, and contributing to the restoration of Lakewood's cherished atmosphere. Tragically, Amy passed away in December of 2021, just as the positive effects of her contributions were becoming evident. Her legacy lives on through the positive changes she initiated, and dedicating a park in her honor would be a fitting tribute to her enduring impact on the community. Amy's family's enduring connection to Lakewood and Amy's unwavering dedication, their family's dedication, make them an integral part of the village's history. I urge the Crystal Lake Park District to consider naming the park after Amy, a woman who, without a doubt, deserves this honor. Her contributions have shaped the present and future of Lakewood, and dedicating the park in her memory would be a meaningful way to acknowledge and celebrate her enduring place. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Brian Young and the entire Young family. So thank you for your attention as I read this letter. I hope it conveyed the depth of our community's support for this initiative. I'm fully committed to seeing this project through and would be more than happy to assist in any way possible, whether it's answering any questions you might have, collaborating on the perfect name for the park in Amy's honor, running errands, or providing any form of assistance. Please consider me at your service. I'm eager to contribute to the realization of this terrific park and honor Amy's memory in a meaningful way. Thank you again for considering this proposal.
Move on to the discussion of the please. Seeing the material, we've got 4 scenarios, I think really kind of 2 scenarios. The third scenario, what it looks like without it, what is in it.
Start by saying this information was so much more user friendly, and I appreciated the narrative that went with it and the way it was presented.
I'm gonna. But so the $12.43, my position is that if you look at every expense from that perspective, we'd be unable to fulfill your fiduciary duty. Every expense is going to look like that. It's going to be a small piece. So you've got to think about the total expense and prioritize what that gets us. Is it a rebate to the taxpayers? Something else. So it's about prioritizing, not just, it doesn't matter.
So in response to that, what I would say is one of the scenarios is a $300,000 budget. I seem to remember from our last committee of the whole meeting, Amy talking about a playground surface at Main Beach, and our projected cost for that was $300,000 surface of a playground. So if you don't want to take it in dollars and cents that way, I think we need to keep in mind, like, what a small portion of the budget we're talking about and what an outsized impact it would make if we considered cutting the police department for their budget significantly.
I agree with that. But not that the expense is just so diminished that we don't, it doesn't matter.
It's just one part. That's one part that the paper picked up on. There's a lot more to this issue. And the staff put together a fantastic outline of all the services the park police provide. We've gotten community input about what that potential impact would be as well. I think we need to not just focus on the dollars and cents, and I think we need to focus on the overall impact to both the city of Crystal Lake, their police department, and also how would the public perceive the safety of our parks if this board makes such a momentous decision as cutting something like park police that has been around for 100 years.
It's definitely an issue we should raise, we should discuss. Whether we should suspend it or not is the question, right? So,
It's, is or is not the question.
it is, that is, the question, right?
I mean-
What value does it give to us? We're the only ones doing it. So sometimes you have to look and say, look at that, obviously. It's a rare thing to have. So maybe it is, maybe you should have, right? I don't think that the city of Crystal Lake can charge us for general police protection services. They want to, but they can't. And others get along, other parts, almost every part district gets along without it. So we're gonna be able to hold our functions without it.
Yeah, but
We're gonna see we're gonna see a budget without it, and it's gonna be, we're gonna have to pay for some private events, but we're going to be able to do them. I might vote in favor of keeping it after we see that. I'm not out here to say, let's get rid of it. But if it's the right thing to do, we can do other better things with those funds. And $12.43 compounded forever is a lot of money, right? We are talking about it. It is 7 million, 8 million right now. It's a significant issue. It is a big expense. And we can do a lot with those funds.
Are we hurting for borrowing leverage right now?
No, we're not hurting, but
Yeah.
we could be better. It's not about that. It's not free. So we need to discuss what the priority is, right?
You're talking about these other communities that don't have a park district. They didn't have a park district in their community for 100 years. And so when you have that established as part of your traditional how the community is served for that length of time, there's bound to be some value that's built into there that grows over time. And secondly, when you were talking about trying to make that comparison with all of the other expenditures in the park district, you're comparing, that to me, it's like an insurance policy. Would you go without an insurance policy?
That's pretty.
Well, okay, well, it doesn't seem to me that the premium for this is too exorbitant.
That's the question.
And
2.6% of the total.
and then I was looking at the 50% reduction in cost, and a lot of that is attributed to cutting of part-time officers, which means that a lot of these events that we would be using those officers, I don't know what it would look like not having all those part-time officers at some of those events.
I think we got that. That's what's in the budget.
I know, but what would the real effect of that be? During 4th of July weekend or during concert nights
It
or
would be less coverage, less service.
exactly.
Well, and loss of specialized knowledge of
Mhm.
having people there whose sole job is to know that park inside and out and provide safety for it.
I think I would like to take this discussion to a very fundamental level of asking what purpose do we want the park police to serve? And looking at a budget from what do we want them to do? I would like, for example, to see a really good description of what the conservation district police do and what they don't do. I think in my mind, a lot of the things that I'm aware that our park police do are administrative or other staff could do, and that's how it's done in other park districts. I think having the duplication of services with police department as representatives of the public, it's our job to look at saying, do we really need this or not? Not, it just costs $12.43. I think it is our responsibility as a taxing body to say, is this necessary? And because it's been going on for 100 years, maybe now is the perfect time to ask that. Because you can't just keep doing stuff because you've been doing it. You need to be responsible and ask, do we need it? And I think to ask, do we need it, we need to ask, what do we need it for? I think we could refocus both of those things.
Well, I just think when you do a 50% cut, you're gonna see that there will be some differences that will be noticed.
And
And
that
so-
may be okay.
Well, right, but I mean,
I disagree that it'll be okay.
Well, I
I
don't
think,
say it'll be okay.
I
It'll-
think- I don't think it'll be okay.
We'll be noticed.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with negotiating a cut. You know, what would it look like? I mean, have we really, asked, what does the police chief feel about, would they be able to manage events without having those part-time officers? We haven't really heard from them. I don't know what it would look like on their end.
Well, because it's, only we're gonna get there.
Well, it does affect our staff.
Yeah.
And then the idea of, and I just know how crazy it is over at Little Park on weekends when there's soccer games, baseball games, softball games. And
You're a sporty guy, you've been there.
yes, but I also know that people, over at Lippo, they park in all kinds of crazy places and everything else. And I know our park police are on top of trying to manage that. And I just cannot see that the Crystal Lake Police would be all about doing
So
this.
why wouldn't our staff be there to do that?
Well, then now you're hiring extra staff.
We have staff there.
Right?
I mean, the police are our staff. They're there doing that.
Right, but we could do almost everything the police does, almost everything could be done by staff
I
without a
disagree.
police force.
I totally disagree with that. That completely denigrates their training as a police officer when you say something like
Well,
that.
and I can tell you,
Like,
I agree with
and I'm gonna say this is anecdotal, but as a beach manager for a long time and managing the parking during those busy times, people, if they see a kid out there that's got an orange vest on, they're gonna go like, who's that kid? I'm just gonna park here anyway. You've got park police that are there.
So, no, it's absolutely electric. Absolutely, there is some cachet, having it. Absolutely. But it's.
I wouldn't classify it as
What's
a
the-
luxury.
Well, many park districts don't have it, so I think it's for us. it's definitely
The
special.
vast majority don't.
More than that, it's rare that you have. So, yes, there is definitely benefit to having a farm police. Absolutely. What can we do? We talk about, what can we do with that? We give it back to the taxpayer. It's not tax that amount of money. Can we do something special? Can we do the pool? We have other things, our financial situation is really good right now. We can do a lot. The community center is like, I'm absolutely certain we can do that. But we need, this is a big ticket item. That would go a long way towards doing something else or giving it back to the taxpayers. It's a lot of money. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. So that's, it's nice to have it. We're not gonna argue that it's great to have it. We're gonna say, is it the best use of our resources?
So, yes. So, I loved hearing from the community because they live here. And I don't know how votes work or whatever, like they said, asking the public, because I do believe it is unique. I hear you saying that it's unique to have a police department, but it has fit and it has worked and helped as family, as citizen, to have safety, to not worry. I go to the parks all the time and to not worry of, I don't know where I've heard of like downtown Chicago and stuff, runners getting in trouble. And I don't have that fear of being involved. Because I know there's police. I know I don't always see them, but I have faith that they're there, and there's times I definitely see them. But that I don't have the fear. And I, just everything that we've been doing with, like you said, with the music on Tuesdays. And, 4th of July was crazy, but we have police there, we have help. And I just don't, my biggest concern is what Michael's saying, that how could the city of Crystal Lake Police Department handle what our police department does? Nobody would know, you know, how do you, we're not gonna be able to guarantee that. Like if you disband it and it's all put on the Crystal Lake, city of Crystal Lake, they're gonna have to add police, so there goes our taxes up anyway. You know, so I just feel like,
I think there's a balance of scale, but that's a good question. Scott, is this something that's the appropriate for the advisory recommendation?
That'll be up to the board. You could.
No, but I mean, you feel like that, we could definitely put this on the ballot.
You could. put this
And I believe you can also put on the ballot a special tax to fund them.
You can have funds for it.
That one, which is part of that.
Right, I just wanted to point out the option.
You start talking about raising taxes. Right? But I think maybe an advisory referendum of, do you think our district police force is necessary? Something to that effect, and we really do let the public weigh in on it. I think it's great.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know from some of these other communities that do they have large beaches like we have? Because I think that we're pretty rare when it comes to having a large beach that can sometimes have up to 2,000 people there in a day. I don't know many other beaches around anywhere near this area that large. Does those communities, or the staff that work at those communities, do they have radios that they can connect with and talk to the park police at moment's notice, or the regular police at a moment's notice, or do they have to make a phone call? Because I mean, our staff, I know for certain, you get on the radio and you get a hold of park police, and they sometimes you say, hey, can you call me on the landline? And you've got them on the phone literally within a minute. And if you dial 457-455-2020 or whatever, you may not talk to just only the dispatcher, and you won't talk to an officer for 10 minutes.
You and I are on the same side on all these companies. But it is nice to have participants. Absolutely.
so then I think what we would have to hire would be like Kevin was saying, we would have to hire security team or some kind of other staff. Because we are a big district and we have a big beach that you don't have security walking around
And that's coming next meeting sometime soon, right?
Yeah, and I'll just throw this in, because it keeps coming up, but there's still gonna be money spent, whether it's our police doing it or we're hiring other staff. The trick to this is it gonna be less money, the same amount of money, or more money? And that's kind of scenario 5.
Go ahead.
Yeah, look.
I'm interested in continuing to learn more and have to see what the cost would be to perform these duties without a police department. So I think that would be very informative. I also want to say that, oh, never mind, go ahead.
I like the question of referendum, because we're all kind of just absorbing it now. It's on the agenda for next meeting. I think we should put this on maybe. We don't think about it. We're putting on the ballot for referendum next. So I'm just trying to find it. So. Well, we're not going to. Well, here it is. Because you have primary. Right, primary in March, so you think it might be too late. No, it's not too late. Not too late for next. So I don't see this. Well, we would want to take that decision right now, because it's not. I guess it's kind of. Let's put that on the agenda for the next meeting. You guys okay with that? Advisory referendum.
To discuss doing that,
Advisory referendum, whether we should have participants.
I'm fine with discussing.
Well, no, I'm gonna ask you to vote on it. Yeah, I think it'd be great. Put it to the public and see how they feel about it. My guess is they're gonna say, what, we have a police department, and probably a no, but maybe not, maybe people really want.
You want that at the committee of the whole meeting?
Yeah, I mean, it's just for discussion. Anything else? We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Real quick, I'm very quick. So you want to still continue to work on this? With everybody.
I mean, if it was up to me, the whole issue would be tabled. We waited, but it's fine if it makes other people feel better to see what that.
Yes, I'd like to see it, please.
You ready to do it?
We do have a January committee meeting, but they're not gonna have it done. We're still waiting on information from the city. We're gonna have to get information by the various services, and we have to also then determine exactly what all of our coverage. So
Let's put the issue of the advisory referendum on the next, next meeting.
yeah, so I've got for the January 4th committee of the whole, we've got advisory referendum discussion. And then the scenario 5 would be hopefully in February.
And I'm just not getting advisory. It's either we do it or not. It's not on. Next. Correct, consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve. Roll call?
Commissioner Cable,
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Davidson.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner McHale,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes. Business. Where's authorizing the disposal of items from the property? Any discussion on this? I got the questions. How do you guys, how do you run this?
How do you auction?
So the auction house that just takes it all. Yep. You got it. And that's, you find that that's just consider the time you have to spend to do it, otherwise that's the way to do it.
It's been definitely beneficial. We actually get a lot more money for a lot of these things than we probably would. We would have just recently found stuff that was a while back, but it's golf carts. I think one of them each. So it's pretty nice.
Who's the auction?
I can't recall the name offhand. Ovenoff? No.
It's a local outfit that,
What's it?
it's a local outfit.
No, it's a national auction house.
What is it? Gov Deals.
Yeah, there's Gus. I think it's Gus.
Gov
Yeah.
Deals. That's a part. That sounds pretty legit. It's made up.
It's legit.
You want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve it.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of Veteran Acres North Shelter bid results. You want to talk to us again about this, a little bit?
Price. The prices have gone up and I selected a very affordable but nice shelter. Some of the shelters were just, I went ahead and got pricing on shelters alone. And shelter prices range from approximately 36,000 to 120,000 just for the physical shelter. If we bought it without paying tax. And I was like, so I made a recommendation in the RFP to specifically for a shelter that was more affordable. And we went out to bid. It includes an accessible sidewalk going to the shelter, new concrete removal of the existing shelter. It's a little bit bigger, but not much bigger. And just material costs, everything's going up. It's surprising how much. I had budgeted $170,000 for the project. And as you can see, the one quote was $380,000. So I was surprised. But Team Real is a very competent company. We've worked with them before, I understand. And I recommend that we move forward with this project, not put it off. This price is going down.
Yeah, we had some under budget and some other stuff. Other figures, is that right?
I believe so, yes.
But this is also gonna come out of the miscellaneous line item for veterans, right?
Mhm.
So that's where it's in, we've got miscellaneous funds for things that come up.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the reason that we're buying.
That leaves our miscellaneous. We're getting. You know, it's like,
Eric's comfortable with it.
I'm comfortable, even if you went past that miscellaneous, there are some items that are on that budget, the grounds section, that we're taking that out of, that we're gonna have a little excess.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the veteran acres and shelter.
most of it,
Team Real, the 204,560
The lowest bidder.
responsive. Yes.
Yeah.
second.
I'll second that.
Well, let's roll.
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes,
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner McHale,
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes. Great. Alex Road Park update.
So Amy did an RFQ for construction management companies to oversee the project at Haligus Road, and really just to let the board know, we're working through the contract now with the companies that we're going to recommend. Scott's reviewing it. We hope to have that to the board for approval of the January 4th committee of the whole meeting. We don't approve things there, but we want to get that approved as soon as possible. So,
They are.
Yeah.
Well,
The Randall, they did the Randall.
Dundee Township,
Randall Road. Randall. Yeah.
they've done a lot of work in Cary as well.
And we stuff with the blue and the cluster. They're not our architects.
No, they're not our designers, we're, still with Hitchcock, and, our budget for design is to work in, they're either working in that, but, we control the look of the project.
And they're out of there.
That'll be to you guys, maybe the one in January.
Yes.
And put in front of you the packet for the committee of the whole meeting. Obviously, I'll revise the agenda and include the referendum discussion. But we wanted to get this to you because in this is the annual review of the capital project, 10-year plan, and then something else that broke out what's on the docket for next year. There's a lot of adjustments that will have to be made based on the bottom line number, but I wanted to get that to everybody now so that you have it for the next couple weeks or dinner around here. So we wanted to get it out to you guys tonight. But I will revise the agenda and email that to you so you have that. Other than that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Yeah, anything to add?
Can I make one? Okay, so Jason, when I read your report, I was disappointed to see that we did not get the park grant for the Mickey Suns baseball complex. I would like to request that we make it a priority to do some basic upgrades to that complex to make it visually appealing and more user friendly.
That'll go out for a discussion of the meeting.
Good.
That came up in department head discussion on what we're looking for. And yes, that was very.
I know you tried.
I mentioned in my board report that the auditors are still working on the draft, so they haven't sent me anything yet, but they're anticipating having something to file with the state, which then if the board has, then it would be presented at the January board meeting for acceptance. And if the board had any issues, they could reopen that filing with the state and make those adjustments to make it what you guys, what the final outcome would be. And then we wouldn't post anything until the board accepts it. So that's our current plan. I haven't heard any other, things to not have it be that plan, but we'll see what comes up.
Just two things. We ended the year with some big programs, big successes. Actually, as Bob was mentioning, the Luminaria, we had just over 2,000 people show up for that night. So Saturday night of Luminaria was fantastic, probably our biggest night that we've ever had. And then just a week and a half ago, we had our final theater production of the year. Last year's theater production at this time, we sold $600 worth of tickets. This year we sold $2,255 worth of tickets. So we were almost 3.5 times the crowd size that we were last year. Our next play production that starts in January is almost completely filled, even with expanded rosters. So it's just nice to see as we finish the year, a program like theater that's been building and building is just continuing to take off. So it's just a nice little success story.
And what was interesting that Kurt shared with me was that there were a lot of people that came to the show that didn't have an attachment to the show. They didn't have kids or grandkids. They just showed up for the entertainment, which that's kind of nice.
I didn't know what The Descendants was until recently. And it was a thing. It was absolutely a thing. So it was great.
Do we, have we invited senior citizen residents to dress rehearsals or anything like that yet?
We haven't done anything along those lines. The dress rehearsals, because they're at South, we only get one night and it's pure chaos. For lack of a better term, with 35 elementary and junior high kids, they don't usually get through an entire performance until the night of the show. So there's times when they say, hey, we never got through a performance. I'm like, well, the curtain's open in an hour. So we're a little worried about that, but it always comes together. So, but that's not a bad idea if it's somewhere we can get that worked out to reach out.
Nothing to add tonight. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone. I did go these.
So my report, on that, I wanted to add that we received a letter, a signed agreement for the additional funding for the Nature Center exhibit. So that is great. The official paperwork has come through and I got our consultant, contractor, contractor, yesterday with phone calls of excitement. So that was really nice to get that on Christmas holiday. I will also let you know that we got a letter from IDNR that we did not receive the Ozai grant for Bell Park. So you'll see that in the budget breakdown. Yes, that was very disheartening this week, so. Yeah.
But you can't win them all.
Can't win them all. That's true. Not, the letter did say they ran out of funding as they were working down the list, so they had a list this big and we were down here and the funds ran out up here probably.
We won quite.
Yeah, we have. We're doing really good. And the mitigation plan, they approved that, so we're just waiting for paperwork on that. So hopefully after the holidays, we'll see the paperwork or letter to proceed with the Holidays Park project. So, which we are still working on and moving forward. Everything's good. Thank you.
So, minutes from the board.
Thrilled with the program results. All the stuff underneath you is doing really well, and I was grateful to know why food service was down on it, and so the explanation from last time made me go, oh, I get it now. So anyway, it was really nice, and I've been going through physical therapy, and my physical therapist said, "You're with the Park District. Oh my God, you guys have the best programming," and he just raved about coming from 45 minutes away as a non-resident, and I asked him, how did the non-resident fees affect them? And he said, it is a bargain. You pay more than that. It's such a bargain. So it was nice to hear.
Thank you for passing out any program in particular that I have the easy job of just coordinating. There's the people that actually do the hands-on work. Anything in particular that they said was great?
Yeah, his 3-year-old daughter's in the soccer program, and he said they had a soccer coach skill level. His wife is an assistant soccer coach at Central, and she recognized that the man teaching the little kids could be teaching college level soccer, but was still making it fun for the kids, and they were just floored. Pardon?
I wish. I will. That's one of our independent. I'll make sure to pass that information along. Thank you.
That's the one that really. I don't know any of the names.
So many good soccer coaches in there.
Yeah, and the Hot Shots is an independent contractor, so luckily they go from us to Woodstock to Huntley, and they just kind of go around. And usually we usually get a good one because we've become their biggest client just with some of the numbers. So they tend to send us the best instructors.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I heard from so many members of the public that they loved the Luminaria walk. And they were impressed with how you guys pivoted and had a questionable weather situation that was happening during some of those days. So kudos to you guys. I was bummed that I wasn't able to be there this year, but.
It was a little floppy on Saturday. but
Yeah,
people
yeah.
still had a good time.
No, they did, and they said, they absolutely loved it. Getting out in the parks at night.
Anything else for the good of the cause? No executive session? Good meeting, adjourned.